Alright, here we are again with the Bohemian cello. We've got the A-peg bushings all cut down and blacked in on the inside, varnished on the outside and colored. Now we've got to drill new holes to fit the one last peg that is not fitting. So because the hole is a little large, if you hold this here, you can see that A-peg was interfering with the string going from the nut to this peg. So the string would hit this peg. So we're going to put that a little bit lower, a little bit further back. So we go from the center here, go slightly lower, a little bit further back. That's where we want to drill the hole. And we don't want to go straight through because this hole was not necessarily in the same spot. So on both sides. So we got a drill bit slightly larger than the reamer, so we can get the hole started there. And it's off-centered so that it won't be using the hole. So it'll be partly in the old wood and partly in the new wood. That's the concept there. I think I'll go a little bit further over this way. That should be good. Now make sure we're 90-degree angle from the center there. Okay, now we'll do the same on the other side. Yeah, that's good. Didn't quite go on. Okay, so now we'll carefully ream that out. Make sure we're going straight. Get the other pegs in here so we can get kind of a gauge. Yeah, that one was nice and straight, if you remember. This one's slightly crooked. This one's really crooked. But we want to make sure that this other one's nice and straight so it'll look good. Yep, nice and straight. So we only want to go the minimal amount. We don't want to make that too big. But we got a lot of ways to go. Okay, here's our last peg. We've already shaped it down to the extra large size. But because we don't want to make that hole any bigger than we have to, we're going to shape this down smaller to our large size here. Where's large? Here's large. And because we're going to have to go at least that far, we're going to cut this little end off so it'll make it easier to shape. There, now instead of cutting all the way down to there, we've got less work to do. And if you're shaping a lot of pegs, it gets to be a lot of work. Then we'll get one of these handles here. Oh, this one might not be big enough. This one might fit. No, too small. But you get the idea. There's another one here. Yeah, that might help. Not much, but if you're doing violin or viola pegs, these are very helpful. But the handle on these cello pegs is quite large. Yeah, it's got quite a ways to go. And so we can go ahead and lean this out larger. Remember to keep it level both directions, this way and that way. But you can see here's the bushing. That's where the peg used to be. Now it's going to be over here. So it'll be half in the bushing and half in the original maple walls of the scroll. Yeah, we're almost small enough to get in there. Now we'll shave this all the way down to the end of the large. Notice I got a piece of newspaper there to catch all the shavings. You could just do this over a wastebasket as well. Yeah, you can see this is going to be a lot smaller in dimension than the other peg, so this will have years of use before that hole gets too big or the peg needs to be reshaped. Yep, quite a ways to go yet. And when you get a big ridge there, sometimes it's hard to keep turning, so what we do is go to the larger size, cut off some of that collar, making it easier to go to the all the way with the smaller size. Now once you get all the way up to the collar, then you don't want to go any further because you could end up with that ridge right in the middle. So see how close we're getting closer. Gotta be careful when you get up to the collar though. You don't want to wreck that nice decorative collar there. Again, we'll go back to the larger size so we can get it right up to that edge without damaging it. See, if we were doing a whole set of pegs, this would take quite some time. Put a little chamfer in there. That was kind of sometimes it cuts away the edges here. And you can see now that we get that in there. Well, from this string to that string, it's still might gonna maybe hit that other peg, even though we made it lower. This peg here is a little too low, and the angle of curve of the scroll, or the peg box, I should say, makes it pretty hard to get that low enough. Yeah, we probably could have gone a little lower. That should work though. Yeah, we probably could have gone a little bit lower. Yeah, you only got an 1/8 of an inch clearance, so you want to have enough room for the string to go around a couple times. Okay, now we want to be about 5/8 to 7/8, or 3/4 to 7/8. So make sure this is all the way down on the large. See, now if I was going to start with the medium, I would be cutting right there, and that would be right by the wall, so right inside the wall. So we don't want to do that, because then that wouldn't fit properly. So we'll just give this a couple more twists and we should be good to go. Oh, that looks like that's going to be just perfect. Yep, 3/4. All right. So set these aside. We'll trim these as we showed you before. Mark them. Cut them off. Sand them. Drill a hole for the pegs. Seal them. And put peg compound on. Meanwhile, before we string it up, we've got to get this fingerboard straightened out. It's actually made of beechwood. You can see up here where it's been cleaned away. But the problem is it's been warped and carved over the years to provide some relief. It's got too much relief. You can see a gap here. Where'd my ruler go? There it is. Yeah, from this end to that end, there's a gap. 1/8 inch. That's too much of a gap. Actually, it'd probably be higher if I went all the way to the end. Get the long one out here. 1/8 inch. Almost all the way up. Even down here, it's quite high. So you can see the thickness of the fingerboard here as opposed to the thickness of the fingerboard there. It's been planed down some in the middle. It's a little more obvious on this side, thick here and thin here. So they put a scoop in there. Part of that is the neck is warped a little bit over the ears. We could take this off and put a new ebony fingerboard on, straighten the neck. But for right now, we're going to take off the nut here. That wasn't on very well. We'll be able to plane this down and plane this end and this end down to get it closer to flat, so it's not going to be too as hard to play. Now we'll get out our plane. Kind of hard to get through that paint there first. Yeah, it's starting to come off. Well, you can see how I'm playing here. It's flat plane. When it hits a high spot, take some off. Take some off down at this end, and also down at this end. So that's the process. We've already lessened it a little bit there, but still quite high from here to here. So we'll do some more work down there. Because it is hardwood, hard beech wood, and it's real old. It's not quite as hard as ebony, but it's lighter weight. And since it's original equipment, we're going to leave that on there for now. We can always put a ebony fingerboard on later. But you can see also from years of playing that it's not worn very much. So that also shows you the strength of the wood. So meanwhile, that's just going to take a lot of work. We'll get this cleaned up. We'll have to recut that, which is looks like it's a good nut, but it's ebony, so we'll reuse that. Meanwhile, since we got our reamer out, if you remember, we shortened the ribs on this cello. So both of these ribs went further in and covered up the hole where the end pin goes in. So I'm going to cut away the excess, get the reamer in there, make sure it's going to fit the end pin properly. The reason I'm using a knife is because this dimension did not change. There's no extra wood. It's just on the sides. So we're going to be able to get the reamer to work and just cut off the sides where it needs to get wider. That should be pretty close. Oh, wrong reamer. Need the end pin reamer. That's probably on the other bench. this is your end pin reamer. It's a little heavier duty. Yeah, I'll raise that up so you can see how it's going. And we're also making sure we're going at a 90-degree angle this way as well as this way. And we don't want to take off any more wood than necessary. And I'm going to turn backwards a little bit to burnish it. Make it nice and smooth. Yeah, that looks pretty good. We're got a little bit of overhang on that one side. Let's get an end pin here, see how it fits. Oh yeah, we got a little ways more to go. So the rosewood end pin matches the pegs. Yeah, this is more secure going this way. Now you should see how I've been doing it. So kind of like fitting a peg. Just got to go carefully, a little bit at a time, so you don't make the hole too big. We'll also double check the, whoops, wrong shaper. Got a shaper for end pins too. No, this one's too big. It's a pretty small end pin. It looks pretty straight though. I'll double check here. Sometimes they get deformed after years of use or just from the wood shrinking as it ages. Yeah, we still haven't cut away any of the original end block. We're still cutting away the ribs, so we got a little bit more we can shave off there. And of course, you always want to check and make sure that the taper of your reamer is the same as your end pin or your pegs or your shaper. Everything's got to match. All right, getting close there. Yeah, we don't want to make it too small or too big. Just right. Going 90-degree angle that way. 90-degree angle this way. Yeah, some of these cellos and basses are so hard to work on. You gotta have to have a extra hand, somebody to hold the instrument while you're working on it. Oh yeah, we're getting a nice fit there now. And you can just tell it's going nice and straight that way and this way. Yeah, I can tell now it's getting harder to turn. That means we're actually shaving a little bit of the end block out now, as well as just the sides or the ribs. Yeah, it's nice and clean, tight. Sometimes I go like this with two hands, so it's getting hard to turn. Oh yeah, very close. Slightly cooking, so I'm applying a little more downward pressure to straighten it out a little. Can adjust a little bit as you go, but not much, so it's good to make sure you start out straight. Oh yeah, there we go, just right. Yeah, nice and tight now. That's not going to fall out or pull out. So we will continue working on this fingerboard. Get it all painted black. Get it nice and flat with just a little bit of relief. And then we'll get the pegs fit and not refit, because that would have to be a little bit lower now that we're shaving this down. And we'll come back and see how it's going along. Thanks for watching.